And our last speaker in this session is Hugh Shedden. Hugh is a scholar who is being supported by the Yorkshire Agricultural Society. He farms in North Yorkshire in a mixed farming enterprise, which is currently undergoing considerable change. He still enjoys playing sport, but he tells us that he's getting slower every year. His topic is utilising technology in the pig industry to enhance profitability and sustainability. And one of his goals in life is to be able to pass the farm to the next generation, should they choose to farm.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I would like to start by thanking the Nuffield Farming Scholarship for the wonderful opportunity to travel, challenge myself and broaden my mind. I would also like to thank the Yorkshire Agricultural Society, who have been excellent sponsors. None of this would have been possible without my wife, Rebecca, family and friends for their support whilst on my travels and for taking up the slack on the farm whilst I've been away. In the spring of 2016, the UK pig industry was operating at prices we hadn't seen for 20 years. Many producers operating at a loss. The photo shows our pig unit, and like a lot of units in the UK, it had grown from an original heart and over the years and expanded in what may appear to be a fairly higgledy-piggledy fashion. The expansion, when it happened, followed best practice at the time. But as the unit grew to nearly 4 times its original size, it eventually, unfortunately, led to a loss of management control, poor herd health, and a cost base that was just too high. How could we compete in the future if we couldn't get our costs down? As farmers, we're great at thinking the answer's simple: do more hours, put more in, give more of yourself. This time, it felt different. It felt as if what Jude was saying, we had to work on the top paddock. We'd reached a crossroads. To go forward, changes had to be made. The what, the why, and the when we had to change were fairly apparent. What wasn't was how to change and how to drive and implement those changes. I've had a long-standing interest in precision livestock farming, and I've seen its influence grow over the last 10 years. Therefore, I wanted to see if it had reached a level whereby it could help the UK industry overcome the challenges of today and tomorrow. I believe that we need to be able to know what is happening on our farms in real time. Data analysis after the event is a bit like working out why the car crashed, whereas PLF gives you the ability to see the car crash coming and do something to avoid it. So, with that in mind, I decided to ensure that the technology I encountered on my travels had to be evaluated for its use in the UK. To do that, I came up with the 4 questions you can see on the screen. Nice and simple, just how I like it. It is easy to be wowed by big shiny kit, but all that glitters isn't gold. One of the biggest challenges I found was to ensure that you had the right technology for the right farm. Don't believe all the hype. One of the best bits of advice I was given on all of my travels was to listen to other farmers, because their story is your story. So, I set off thinking I was going to find sensors, cameras, weighing systems that would enable farmers to turn data into information and then hopefully into profit. The photo shows a Q-scan system from the Scottish company Innovent, which uses the sensors on the far side to produce the image on the near side. It does this by using mind-bendingly complicated algorithms which interpret the thousands of data points given off by the pigs to give an individual weighing of an animal. This is great when tied in with food usage, as it can give you a real-time food conversion ratio. FCR is one of the key drivers of pig performance. If your pigs aren't growing as they should be, or if food conversion isn't where it should be, you have the opportunity to intervene there and then. To go back to the car crash analogy, this isn't going to avoid the car crash, but you can put the brakes on a lot earlier. With good information, you can make good decisions. Another example of using PLF to monitor growth I came across was the OptiSort system. This not only takes a weighing of the individual pig, but it can give you a weight of the cut of meat within that animal. So in this case, there's a ham up there, there's bellies, there's legs, there's loins, you name it, it can measure it. As our customers get more demanding, This is a type of technology that I believe will allow us to target certain markets by providing a product that is more speciality and less commodity. However, all the sensors, cameras, all the whiz-bangery in the world are completely irrelevant if you don't act on the information that the technology provides. Create the data, collect the data, analyze the data, and most importantly, act on the data. In some cases, it may well be that no action is required. But as pig farmers, this is a type of technology I believe will enable us to hit our contract specifications more consistently, therefore enhancing profitability. It was at this point in my Nuffield travels I thought I'd set the answers to the questions I'd set out with, and I thought, job done. However, I had a brainwave. I thought, what if the technology I'd encountered could help monitor the health and welfare of the pigs? What if the technology could reduce the pressure on humans and animals by identifying potential problems? So, with the cogs whirring around my brain at full speed, I decided to go again. Whilst in Scotland, I became aware of a trial taking place using the Q-scan system to see if the technology could be used to predict a possibility of an outbreak of tail biting. As ever with Nuffield, I'd gone to Scotland to look at something completely different, and I came across this trial, and I came home after that trip very excited. Pigs, like dogs, they lower their tails when they feel stressed or threatened. The research carried out at the Roslin Institute found that there was a statistical correlation between tail position and tail biting. Their modelling had the possibility to predict an outbreak of tail biting 10 to 14 days before the human eye can detect it. At present, the technology is undergoing trials on a commercial scale to see if the results transmit themselves into various different production systems. If they do, then the potential for this technology, not just here in the UK, but globally, is large. The ability to prevent rather than cure has to be at the heart of all of this type of PLF. As ever, it is not an excuse for the individual to neglect their job. Basic stock skills still have to be done well. It comes back to a system like this can give the farmer an alarm to say that something is going to happen, but it is still up to the individual to act. You can lead a horse to water. As I went further into the journey, I started to think if we're doing all this monitoring of the pig, the environment, the food it's eating, the water it's drinking, then would it be possible to benchmark the health and welfare of the pig? The thing that really appealed to me about this was the ability to take something that is currently subjective and make it objective. Use science, evidence, and technology to score health and welfare. What if we could prove our sustainable credentials using real numbers and facts rather than hearsay, perception, and gut feel? It does feel at the moment this is a step too far for the UK pig industry, but I think it's got traction, and I for one, was certainly a fan. What PLF has is a potential to give farmers more tools to be able to act and enhance the welfare and health of the pig by allowing their natural early warning systems to be monitored and understood. For those of you that don't know, this is RAF Fylingdales on the North York Moors. It is the UK's most important missile detection base. I believe, correctly applied, PLF has the ability to act as an early detection system for UK pig farmers. It can give us the tools to be able to intervene and prevent problems rather than curing them. Prevention is better than cure. So, to come back to the 4 questions I set myself at the start of my Nuffield journey 2 years ago. Does PLF work on a commercial basis? Some of the technology is well embedded and well understood, and yes, it does. Some of it is still very early days, some is still in the development phase, but it is promising. Will it work in the UK? Yes. Will it make management more effective? That is well understood and well embedded. Yes, it is helping management. But I believe as more technology comes to the fore, we're going to need one platform for the technology to sit on. As a farmer, I want to go to one screen, not half a dozen. And that information it provides has to be simple, easy, and concise. If my 10-year-old son can't understand it, then it's too complicated. Is it affordable? Like everything else, I believe the more it is adopted and becomes widespread, the more affordable it will become. So, I came home after doing all that travelling, meeting those great people, and thought, what do I do next? Our problems that existed 2 years ago were still there. The market had changed, which had given us 2 years of good profitability, but all that had done is mask our underlying issues. Our solution, radical or not, you decide, was twofold. Firstly, we have a business which processes pulses, which is doing nicely, and is looking to expand. After countless family meetings, deliberation, heated arguments, and a heck of a lot of soul-searching, we decided to sell the sows, and as you can see, flatten the sow unit to enable the processed pulses business to expand. Secondly, I took some inspiration from Denmark, where nearly 50% of their young pigs are exported. The guys importing the pigs are buying Danish knowledge, expertise, and quality product at a price they can't produce for. And this struck a real chord with me, because I thought, how am I going to stay in pigs if I don't have sows? So, we've entered some long-term supply agreements, and we're going to hopefully use our own wheat and barley through our own feed mill to finish the pigs as effectively as we can do. We have already invested in some of the technology that I've encountered on my journeys, and there is more in the pipeline. Technology is not the only answer. It has to be a partner in the journey. It will not turn a bad farmer into a good farmer. It can point you in the right direction, but ultimately, it is up to the individual to act. Create, collect, analyse, act. So, therefore, I believe that precision technology can be used by the UK pig industry to enhance profitability and sustainability. I hope to inspire others that change can be made by doing it, whether that inspiration is national, local, or more importantly to me, like George was saying, at farm-to-farm level. I'd like to leave you with a final thought. Change in any business is not only inevitable, it is desirable. You can either be engulfed by it or run with it. Time will tell where we get to, but there is no going back. Thank you very much.